CNN's Joie Chen in Atlanta. Joey?
Aaron, we're following and watching these extraordinary pictures as they still come in as we continue to watch all the events. We want to bring our viewers back to where all of this started today, and we have additional pictures to give you some additional perspective to the story we are telling you this afternoon. First up, we go back to 8:48 this morning, that is Eastern. The crash of the first hijacked airliner hit the North Tower of the World Trade Center in Lower Manhattan in New York. You see the gaping hole and you see the black smoke that billowed from the tower. Now this was actually, you're looking at the picture of the second airline that crashed into the second tower, the South Tower as well. Now we want to move you over and show you some exclusive CNN pictures, still pictures of the second crash as it happened. You see the plane bearing in on the South Tower of the Trade Center. This is United Airlines Flight 175. It was a Boeing 767 scheduled from Boston to Los Angeles, 65 people on board. And you see what happened, just sheared right into the South Tower. Horrible crash, massive burst of flames. This crash occurred at 4 minutes after 9 o'clock this morning. Again, that's New York time. Now move ahead to 10:29 actually. The North Tower had collapsed already. This is the South Tower. You can see collapsing into the streets of Lower Manhattan, just falling away. We know that as you see it there, it's just falling away, just falling out of the sky, falling into pieces all over Lower Manhattan, and so you can understand the tremendous amount of ash just dumped on Lower Manhattan today. Roughly 50,000 people work in the towers in the center area on a daily basis, and then of course there are additional tens of thousands of tourists who would come to the tourists who want to see the tremendous vantage point you would have from the top of the towers. The New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani has told us he does believe that there was a horrendous loss of life there, but he doesn't even want to try to guess how many people have died in New York today. Here now we want to give you the eyewitness accounts of people who saw some of what happened today.
I heard the sound of a jet. I assumed it was like a Navy jet or something like that, just flying by. Sometimes they'll fly very low near the World Trade Center, not near it. Then I heard a large explosion. I thought it was a sonic boom. And when I heard the explosion, I looked up, and what I saw red. And I saw debris start to fall down. I was so close to the building that I couldn't run away from the building, so I actually had to run towards it. And if you know, the World Financial Center has got a rib design, so you actually have a 2x2 space where you can actually sneak into the building and hide. Myself and one other man were there. We had our book bags over our heads. Debris was falling down about the size of this. All portions of the building were falling down. That went on for about 30 or 40 seconds, and that for me was the worst part of this whole experience for me, because I feared for my own life at that time. But after that stopped, I walked out myself. I didn't see anybody in the plaza, so nobody was in the plaza at that point. I walked to my building in the World Financial Center. I'd seen that my colleagues were evacuated the building, were downstairs. Now, on the west side of the World Financial Center, which is right on the Hudson River, there's an outdoor plaza, okay? You can look over the World Financial Center and see the World Trade Center. We were looking back at the building in flames, and this is probably 5 after 9, 10 after 9, and we see a second commercial jet flying extremely low actually collide into the South Tower of the building. At that point, we decided just to get out of there. People were just going crazy at that point, evacuating. We started to walk north and ultimately got up to here. During our walk, we saw the South Tower collapse to the ground, decimated, and then later, it was very amazing to see the North Tower standing there by itself after years and years and years of seeing them together. And then all of a sudden, the North Tower just collapsed upon itself and just fell to the ground. There was a cloud of dust that covered all of downtown Manhattan, Battery Park and everything. It's phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it.
The eyewitness description of the horrible scene in New York City this morning. And in the midst of all of that, in the midst of that terrible tragedy, there was further chaos down in Washington. 9:45 this morning, an airliner crashing into the Pentagon. The plane, which was American Airlines Flight 77, which was scheduled from Washington's Dulles Airport out to Los Angeles. The Boeing 757 hit the Army side of this huge fortress that is the Pentagon. The Pentagon, of course, is not just a symbol of the nation's military might, but today is a command center amidst all that has happened. Now, there was a fourth crash, which occurred today in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. United Airlines Flight 93 was bound from Newark in New Jersey out to San Francisco. There were 45 people on board. Authorities say there were no survivors. In all, there were 4 crashes, 266 passengers and crew, and then, of course, we still have no idea how many people may have died on the ground in the course of all these catastrophes.